So what next? Ever think you could go on to higher education? Studying for a degree can change your life, and it might not be as difficult as you think. There are lots of routes into higher education. If you're not going straight from school, access to HE could be right for you.
I mean, the Access course has been excellent in kind of opening doors for me.
My tutors were really good. They were very helpful, very supportive.
The flexibility was fantastic.
It's a diversity of different ethnic origins and backgrounds.
The Access course is helping me to move to the next level.
Once you get into it, it can be really good fun.
It's just a fast track to get into university and get on the right road.
Going back to college on the Access course gave me a second chance.
If you've worked for a while or taken time out from your career, Access to HE offers a flexible 1 or 2 year path onto a degree. It's not easy and you'll have to work hard, but it can give you that extra boost to help supercharge your career. Think you can't do it? Think again. Lots of people are capable of going on to higher education but haven't had the chance. Everyone has a different story. For Kauser, continuing with education after school was not an option.
I had an arranged marriage at 16 and then I had twins at 17 and, you know, consecutively another 3 children after that, so that kind of stalled me kind of going back into higher education then. Initially when I did start, it was I was quite anxious actually, thinking, oh, am I going to be able to do this? You know, what have I done here? I've made the wrong decision. I'm not going to fit in here, and you know, how am I going to cope? But eventually, actually, once the course got up and running, and my fears and kind of anxiousness did allay a bit. Fellow students are, you know, really, really supportive. We're almost like a little close-knit kind of family supporting each other, especially those of us that have got other commitments like children, and so we're almost like you know, crying on each other's shoulders when the going gets tough, and other times, you know, celebrating when we've got our level 3s, and you know, it all makes it kind of worthwhile. Now I do have a much more clearer kind of pathway as to what I'm going to kind of gain at the end of this course and where it's going to lead me. Whereas at 16, I think there was a bit, you know, my life did take on a different course. So I didn't know where I was going to kind of end up at that time. Tuesdays and Wednesdays I have a college, and those are my times when the children are at school to get down to the nitty-gritty, get my kind of college stuff done. And you know, when they're gone to bed, and that's my time, a couple of hours after they've gone to bed. So I find I manage it really well. I now know I can very much achieve what I want to achieve. I set my mind to things, set my mind to the goals I want to achieve, and they're almost at a kind of reaching point now. I can almost kind of reach them. The college has been tremendously supportive in, you know, me being able to achieve my targets, my goals. And eventually, you know, it's now going to lead me hopefully into university life, and it's been excellent preparation in doing that. It's been an enriching experience for me, and it's been actually one of the best decisions that I've made in my life.
Since filming, Kauser has been accepted onto the Social Policy degree at Bristol University. Doris thought she'd missed her chance to go to university after taking time out from full-time education.
In the beginning, it was a bit scary having to come back and sit in a class, because before that I did, when I did sign language, level 1, level 2, it was a class full of mixed ages, so you didn't really feel like you are formally back in school. What I'd always wanted to do was to become an interpreter, so I looked at the options available for me, and it was quite costly as well, and I really wanted to go to university, so I just didn't think that I could ever go to university. I thought I'm a bit old, and you know, I just missed the chance, and that's it. I remember having to struggle to produce my first assignment, you know, because you don't know what is expected, you don't know how to write it, and but there's lots of help. And most importantly, most teachers, they do show that they believe in you, you know, so that for me, it keeps me going, because then I think, oh, I'm doing the right thing, and, you know, I need to work a little bit more harder, and that keeps me going. I've got friends who are at university, and when I talk to them, I mean, you know, I understand a lot that they're doing. So that, I guess, is a sign for me that it is really preparing me to go to university.
Kerry left school with no qualifications and no fixed abode for 6 years before deciding to take control.
Before the Access course, I wasn't really studying anything. I was just sort of going in between jobs, in and out of jobs, and I'm doing a volunteer youth work course. Now that I've found that, I sort of know the direction I want to go in. So finding out about the Access course and the health and social care has really sort of, I knew what I wanted to do, and I've come and I've sort of got just trying to get everything on track, really. It's really flexible, the Access course, so I can do sort of 1 or 2 days a week over a part-time over 2 years and fit in everything else at the same time, so it works out really well for me. You meet sort of a lot of people from a wide range of backgrounds, and like in my courses there's a lot of women that are sort of like in their late 30s and 40s and even 50s, so it's really interesting to see their life experiences and get everyone together. Everyone wants to be here, so it's not like loads of people messing around and disrupting the classes. It's just kind of everyone gets on with it, and that it really works. The tutors are brilliant. They're really supportive, and they understand that everyone comes from different backgrounds and everyone has different situations. For example, there's a few people that I work with who, in my classes, that have got like 7 kids, so they're really supportive for people like that. I'm sort of putting my brain to some use, and I'm feeling a little bit more active, like I'm doing something positive and constructive, so yeah, it's really helped. When I graduate university, I'd quite like to go into sort of youth work or social work of some sort. So I'm taking social policy probably, just because it's quite a general subject, so I can then go on from there. Everyone around, all the tutors and stuff, really believe in you and push you to your limit and sort of get you involved in things like this. So yeah, it's really boosted my confidence, and I actually believe in myself now.
So what's it like for Access students when they go on to university?
When I went to school, university I think was always considered for the elite, I thought. Academically elite, if not financially elite. It's certainly never mentioned in my family at all. No one in my family had been to university, so I'd be the first as such. After leaving school, obviously with no qualifications, I drifted into manual work, labouring, then on to warehouse work, and I eventually did my HGV, and for the last several years, 7, 8 years, I was working as a lorry driver, delivering books actually to universities, bookshops around the west of England. I did just pop along to my local college. I thought I'd sign up for a few evening classes or something to do like that. I had no idea what an Access course was or if it even existed. I did wonder where I was really going to be up to it. Did I really have the ability? Would I even get through it? The English class, as a dyslexic, but I still found it really enjoyable. The first modules were great and introduced me to journalism, which I didn't realise I had a real interest in that. My English teacher was very encouraging, and she gave me the self-confidence to think that perhaps I could go to university. Not available at home as much as I used to be. There's a lot of weekends and I lock myself in the spare room to do essays and things like that. So I think the kids are probably quite pleased with it. They get to watch what they want on the TV, and Dad's locked away out the way. Doing the course has affected the way I feel about myself. I feel a lot more confident in doing all things, not just academic things. I'm confident enough to think I can get out there and get a job as a journalist in the future. Passing the Access course and coming to university and hopefully gaining my degree in the future has opened up so many doors. I just don't see any end to what I could go on and do.
Doing the Access course and then a degree helped Mark Goodall go from shelf stacker to buyer for the National Trust.
Basically, I look at and bring in new suppliers or local suppliers to our shops, and National Trust shops, be it from craft items, jams, chutneys, or honey was very important, obviously, apple juice, just we can build up a kind of a portfolio for our shops to order that they can have in their sections. I've been working many years for a major supermarket just as a general assistant, stacking shelves, a little bit of stock control. I dabbled in trainee management, but I really didn't find it interesting in any way, shape or form. I was becoming increasingly bored and frustrated in my working life. So I realised that I just needed to have a change. One of the problems that I had when I was previously in college and at school was that I would admit I was pretty lazy. I just thought it would just happen, and that I didn't realise the amount of work that you had to put into it. And of course, spending such a long time in a pretty much a low-grade kind of job coming out of college from the first time, it certainly does focus your mind on what you need to do. I didn't necessarily see that I'd go to university. It wasn't something that we did in my family. We would usually end up in factories or doing what I was doing. I ended up in a quite low-paid, low-grade job. So yeah, it was a bit of more of an aspiration, I suppose, to go to university. It wasn't necessarily something that we did. Going back to college at 28 was a bit, okay, if this doesn't work out, then what are you going to do? But I think that was good because it drove me on to do a lot better. And I did really well out of university. I finished up with a first, and I was commended when I was at the college working for doing the Access course. And it just really spurred me on. If you're going to do this, you've really got to make a very good job of it. I was thinking of doing maybe psychology, business studies, or sociology, because that's what I'd done at A-levels and at BTEC. But just quite by accident, my lecturer, when I was on the Access course, suggested or just said, well, you're interested in history, why don't you look at doing a heritage management course? And up until that point, I hadn't really given it much thought. But it was at a local university, the University of Gloucestershire, so I just really went for it. And as it turned out, it was exactly what I wanted to do. Without a doubt, the most overriding thing I found since finishing university is that most of the time, every job I've gone for, I've got, and that was a real surprise, because a lot of the time I went for a lot of jobs when I was working in the supermarket and didn't get them and didn't really have a hope of getting them. I'm not saying that I come here every day with a spring in my step and a jolly laugh, because that's not the case, and we all get bored in our job. But what the Access course and what university did for me was certainly help me find a job or get into employment that I really enjoy, and that 98% of the time I can say is good fun, and I enjoy doing it, and I get a real sense of job satisfaction out of it.
When you've completed the course, you can go on to study a foundation or honours degree. These can be taken locally or further afield if you prefer. People all over the UK are expanding their horizons through higher education. Why not take control of your career and see what the Access course can do for you?